All right, I am here with McKinney Boyd head coach Joe McBride, who just finished his first full season as the Broncos head coach. Coach, how do you feel overall about your team's performance last season?
Well, I mean, I didn't reach the ultimate goal I wanted to for those kids and for ourselves. We wanted to get in the playoffs, and it came down to that last game against rival, and we lost 10-7 and just came up short. So, we made some gains, but we ultimately we ultimately didn't achieve the ultimate goal of getting in the playoffs. So it's not where I want to be, but I feel like I really enjoyed the kids and in the process. It's just got to keep chopping wood. It's a little bit of a marathon and not a sprint.
I was at that last game that you guys needed against your rival McKinney High, and that was the game that I went to, and I kind of fell in love with the stadium, and I loved the atmosphere. Fortunately for you guys, like you said, it wasn't the outcome you wanted, but I really enjoyed the game. I thought both you and your rival High had really good teams, and you were able to put together a fun game to watch.
Yeah, they've done a good job over there, and we're both it's a big game anytime we play, and then for that game to come down to the winner goes to the playoffs, it made it even bigger, and we just came up 3 points on the short end of that deal.
Yeah. You've coached for a lot of schools over your time in your career, like Hebron, Liberty, Coppell, Dripping Springs, and now obviously you're at Boyd. But out of those schools, which one do you think had the biggest impact on your coaching career so far?
I would say Hebron. I was there and with really a mentor of mine, Brian Brazel, who I believe is as good as anybody in the business, and not only in coaching but how he deals with kids and the character he lives his lifestyle with, his faith, his what he's all about. I learned not just coaching, but I learned being with him. I learned how to be a man, how to run things, how to deal with people, how to handle pressure, how to, you learn the whole gamut of being in charge. And so I learned a ton from Coach Brazel at Hebron.
In 2005 at Hebron, like you say, you won a state championship with that high school. And, obviously just getting to coach in Texas high school football is a big deal. But when you're actually able to win at Texas high school a state championship, what's that feeling like?
It's euphoric. I mean, it's it's so hard to win. So hard to win state championships in the state. It's really, really hard, and to go through a 16-game gauntlet and win them all, and come out victorious against an icon like Cal Allen and their head coach. It was just almost just kind of went in shock. I kind of just. And what even made it more cool was that my oldest son was on the team, and he was a starting offensive lineman. And so I got to go through it with him. And but it's the ultimate of what we do. Big time's all relevant. Whether you're strapping it up in Miami playing in a Super Bowl, or you're playing in some stadium in high school for the state championship, your butterflies are just as big no matter what. It's all, big time's all relevant. It's where your energy and efforts are, where you are. And, and then going through that with our kids and coaches and everybody, all the work and everything it took to achieve that, it was just so gratifying.
That's a great achievement and very impressive that you were able to win them all 16 games as well. That's very impressive. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And, the next place you went was Coppell. And during your tenure at Coppell, you put together a 51-10 record as the head coach. So that is very impressive. You were able to reach the playoffs 4 times, and you won Coach of the Year award Coach of the District, 3 times in your time at Coppell. Out of, that much success there, what's a favorite memory you have from Coppell High School?
Well, I think the thing that sticks out to me in my time there was working with so many great people in the district, from from teachers to administrators to people that supported me and helped me to achieve that success. And then most of all, just a great group of coaches that again got in the trenches and worked hard and did everything they could for kids so that we could succeed. And then ultimately, any job, it's about the kids. And so working with those kids at Coppell, all the great players, all the kids that sweat and gave me everything they got and and invested so much. It was just an honor to coach there. It was an honor to, especially as you look back in your career and you kind of, you're looking back and you come at the time, it's hard to just really know how good something is. You try to take it in and you try to assess what's going on at the time, but it really, it's really in that you look back and you see so many great things sprinkled in the details of it all, and so when I look back, you truly have an appreciation for so many people that contributed and helped to make us successful. We had great support from superintendents and ADs and staff and faculty, and then community just wrapped around it, and they loved the Friday night games and the Saturday playoff games, and and then the kids just, when I got there, they embraced me immediately, and they just every year had a great group of kids that just competed really hard, played really hard, were really coachable and invested in what we were doing.
Very successful program you were able to run there. And like you said, it's not just you and your assistant coaches. It reaches all the way across the district to the superintendents and the athletic directors. And, sometimes people think it's only the coaches and the coaching staff and the players themselves, but it's really a full district-wide effort. So I'm glad you mentioned that because, it's a big deal that, everyone's involved to make the team successful.
Yeah, there's a lot of things other than the kids wearing the pads and the coaches with the whistle that creates success. It's an administration that gives you great resources and support and community. And it makes football and Texas football special.
Very special. And, also with the athletic director, you were also the athletic director at Coppell after you finished your high school football coaching career there. You went on to be the athletic director for a few years. What kind of difference was it like to experience Coppell's football games from the athletic director standpoint versus you wearing the headset?
Well, it was a good time for me to kind of take a step back. My son was a quarterback, and and it's a tough situation on everybody at that position, and so I really enjoyed just taking a step back and allowing a bunch of great coaches to coach him. A lot of those guys had been on my staff all those years, and so Mike DeWitt and his guys did a great job coaching Brady, and I just enjoyed, as a dad, to sit back and to soak it in and to not be blurred by having to work and watch the whole game and strategize, and you miss so much because you can't just sit there and focus on your son. You have to manage the whole game as a head coach, and so it allowed me to step back as a dad and just really enjoy something I'd never done before, and that's just be a dad and be supportive and pat him on the back and encourage him and get out of the way and then just try to be everything you can for coaching staff in the programs there to the district so that they can have success. And, I'll be honest with you, there was a lot of good things about it, but I knew in it I was having it was getting tougher and tougher as months go by. I was missing being on the sideline, and I knew that I had to really assess where I wanted to finish my career after my son was done, because I felt like I had a lot to give still, and I felt like the good Lord had still had plans for me in the coaching sideline. So that's ultimately why it brought me back to the sideline.
That you answered my next question right just like that. My next question was what brought you back to coaching, and maybe you can still answer this part of it. What made you choose McKinney Boyd as your next place?
Well, when I had the bug to really want to know that I needed to get back on the sideline, the number one thing you look for is, you look for that support I talked about. Great superintendents, great athletic directors, a community that embraces extracurricular. And so there's none better than McKinney. And I had so much faith in Dr. McDaniel, the superintendent. I had so much faith in Sean Pratt, the athletic director. And I knew that just from the people that I knew up front, that it had a chance to be special because it gives you all the resources you can to be successful. You just got to go to work. And then as I kind of stepped in the front door of it all, finding out you have a principal that loves athletics and extracurricular and tries to attend and be a part of everything. The atmosphere and the chemistry and the culture there just loves extracurricular. Those kids, they call them the Red Nation. I've never been a part of pep rallies or seen the sidelines like those kids. You would think just a common game was fixing to be a state championship. That group that they call the Red Nation and that support and that backing that school gives is just so motivating. Obviously at the time you're playing, but it's also really motivating as a coach to work harder and to do everything you can to give that community and that group of students what they want, and because their support of you and their vigor and fireness to come out and be loud and have a lot of pride and support it's just it just makes the whole Friday night thing special.
You talk about the support McKinney's school district gives to you and Red Nation, and how happy are you that the stadium you get to play at not only is one of the top stadiums in the country, but it's sold out every Friday night for your team to go out and perform?
Well, obviously, I just love coaching. I'm kind of old school. I don't care if it was in the stables of a barn, or I just love the grit of football, the work now. But for kids and for a community and all that, we love playing in that stadium, don't get me wrong. But it's really special for those kids to look back and know they played in one of the finer stadiums in all high school in the nation. And they've done a great job in that district of making it a special place and, again, investing in the extracurricular part of it because it's not just games. There's a huge crowd when they had a state band competition out there, and it was packed, and it's just extracurricular, and that's what's awesome. It's not just about one sport or it's not just about one event, but they embrace and embody the whole extracurricular, and from a horn being tooted, drums being played, to a ball being thrown, to a ball being shot. They're for kids. And so for kids to use a stadium like that and be able to, again, look back 10, 15 years, 20 years later, it will really, really be special to them. I think it's hard for people to grasp and assess how good something is at the time because you're just grinding and working.
Mm-hmm.
But when it's all done and the dust clears, looking back in that rearview mirror, it's pretty sweet, and you realize a lot of great things. And I'm happy for those kids that they get to take part in a facility like that.
I was glad just to be able to sit and watch a football game in it, and let alone these kids get to play a game in it. I could never imagine that, and it's just something special the school district has been able to put together. So, it really, really talks about how much Texas high school football means to the athletic directors and superintendents. So it's a job well done.
To the city, the community as a whole.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen without those people being behind it.
Mm-hmm. Last year, like you said, you didn't reach the goal, but what are some positives you can take from last year that you can use kind of like coming up for this year as some motivators or maybe some key points you focus on to help your guys achieve your goal of reaching the playoffs?
Well, I think, anytime you come in somewhere new, it's just all new. And everything you do is first, and kids are trying to wrap their head around what you do and how you do it is different and all that. So, I think just the relationships and the buy-in as the year started flowing, we started gaining steam. First, it just takes a while. Like I said, you don't just walk in and everything's just smooth and you're as good as you're ever going to be. It takes a while to build something, and it's, and knowing that, it's not about one day or 1 week, but it's where we're getting to week to week and month to month, and then ultimately year to year. But that group, as we started, they just really, as we worked through some wrinkles and some relationships and all that, you could really see buy-in because we got better and better and better all year through the year, and the kids were excited and they played hard, and and they gave us everything they had. That's what kills me is that, you really wish for those seniors you'd have had them longer so that I can really, because, we have a process and a system with what we do, and it starts in off season. There's a whole investment piece that takes a while to form, and we had to do it rapid. And it just, and we saw the fruit of that as game by game went by, and then some young players start stepping up, playing well, and and then we started just really kind of catching some momentum there at the end of the year, and that's why it was such a heartbreaker when it came up short there, 3 points there at the end of the McKinney game, and but I'm just proud of the kids and the buy-in I felt like they had and the relationships we built, because immediately that's what you got to do. You got to build buy-in, you got to create relationships. And they played really hard for us. And as we caught momentum, I was just really proud of everything they gave us and being locked in.
It sounds like next year is going to hopefully be an exciting season for you guys. It seems like you have a lot to build on, and you can use it to your advantage this upcoming season and reach your ultimate goal. So it looks like you have a good foundation built, and I'm excited to see what you're able to do with it this upcoming year.
Yeah, we felt like we were before this Corona stuff. I mean, we really were hitting strides in our whole off-season process, because really football season starts in off-season. That's where it is. That's where your culture's built. That's where your blue-collar work ethic, your size, your strength, your buy-in, the whole culture piece is in off-season. You don't just show up in August and go, okay, now we're ready. No, that's a whole year-long process. And so, we were really making huge strides, and that's why I was killer by spring break. We hadn't been back to school or been with our kids again. So, we're doing everything we can to create a new normal, doing virtual workouts and meetings and all that. But, man, it's just not the same. So we're going to have a really good summer as soon as we can get our hands on these kids and really keep our thumb on them to do everything we can to give us an edge. While everybody's under the same restrictions, we've got to find an edge and do above and beyond however we can. But we'll see. I feel good about, good about where we're going, but I hated the break from the coronavirus and all that, and after we were catching such good stride momentum.
Yeah, I see all your posts on Twitter, the mat workouts and, the 6 a.m. power lifts before school starts for those kids. And, it seemed like everything was going so well for you guys. And, now this Corona unfortunately hit, and now you're stuck doing virtual trainings. But can you tell me, how have those virtual sessions been going?
Oh, they've been really good. I mean, we've had a huge high percentage of kids. We built in a daily schedule for them. We're not just hoping they wake up at this time and hoping they do this, hoping they do that. Essentially, our kids work out at 7 to 8. They have family group meetings with their family coach. That's just every coach has got a pod of kids, and they meet with them for about 15, 20 minutes. And then they have the agenda we've given them, and then they eat a power breakfast. And then they start their school sessions from 9 to 11. And then they have lunch, break there from 11 to 1. Then they start their virtual classes and school session stuff from 1 to 3. And then at 3, we virtually meet with them, the defensive meetings, building relationships, just seeing how they're doing, So we're trying to give them still a routine where they wake up and there's an agenda they got to accomplish, and there's a task ahead of them that they got to, it can't be a deal where they become, sleeping to 1 o'clock every day and playing Fortnite till 4 in the morning. And I mean, you got to keep a routine and a normalcy about it, and and be as productive as you can to continue that discipline, that work ethic, and that mindset.
That's great that you've been able to put that together. Keeping it as real in quotes as you possibly can to make it seem like they are still at school. And I've got one last question for you. Coming into this upcoming season, who are some key players you're focusing on to help lead you guys to the playoffs? Or, what are you going to focus on more? Offense, being able to score points, defense, stopping the ball and creating turnovers? What can we look for?
Well, I think as a program, every phase of what we do to take a huge stride forward, and do it consistently. I've always told our kids, and this is what I believe. I believe in playing Air Force football. We don't have the freakish talent some of the schools have around us. So we got to be smart, disciplined, tough, bought in, invested. We got to win the same way Navy does and Army does. And I challenge our kids to be that way. Come in locked in. It's not an excuse. There's no justification. We got to take good and make it great. We got to take, maybe an average player, make him really good. I mean, we've got to do everything we can to wrench all the talent we can out of our kids. And at the end of the day, how you compete, when they go out on that field, creating a platoon of kids that have invested in each other and in our program, and they will compete and finish every game with every ounce of effort they have. And that's all you can ask for. At the end of the day, if that kid is giving you everything and he's put everything out on the line for you and his teammates, I can whatever happens, and I'll walk away with a smile. I just want to make sure that we ultimately reach every ounce of our potential as we can. And then in our mind, there's no justification of mediocrity. We need to play at a high level. An average player needs to become good. A good player needs to become great. A great player needs to become elite. I mean, everybody needs to step it up, and we need to play kind of military football. There's no reason Navy can go in and beat Notre Dame sometimes, or Army goes in and beats Florida or something. Those schools beat people all the time, and they don't have all the 5 stars that they had and all these high recruits. They do it because they believe in each other, their system, and the process, and the belief of everybody in their mission. And so our culture has got to be one that there's no excuses built in. It's produced and grit, tough, smart effort.
That's a great mindset and very focused. That's like you said, locked in. They want your guys to be locked in, and that's a mindset that is built for success. And joking, you looks great for this upcoming season, and you have built such a great foundation there at McKinney, and hopefully I can get to another one of your games this fall. And I'm really looking forward to it because from what I've heard, you've got everything right there built and you're just ready to work.
Yes, sir. Well, if you come down, let me know. We'll get you hooked up and roll red carpet out for you. You don't have to sit in nosebleeds.
Awesome. Thank you so much again for doing this, Coach McBride.
You bet.
Have a great day.
All right.